All right, y'all. So the repair came back. And I'm going to tell y'all how it went down. So if you have not seen, take a minute. If you have not seen my previous video on Louis Vuitton Neverfull, not the discontinued piece, but the Empreinte leather, the wear and tear, so on and so forth. I'm going to link that video somewhere here toward the end, because that kind of gives you a prelude to how we got to here. So I have had repairs done from Saint Laurent, Prada. I'm looking over at one of my handbag racks now, and I'm trying to think. I didn't have a thing Coach. I think just I had a strap replacement with Coach. And I feel like that's it. Other than that, most of my items, oh, Dooney and Burke I've had a repair for. So just those 3 or 4. So I think Dooney and Burke, Prada, Saint Laurent, and Louis Vuitton. That's it. The rest of the stuff that I've had no problem with. Life is beautiful, and we kept it moving with life. Anyhow, so long story short, I had a work trip earlier this year. I went to Atlanta. I did do a vlog for that trip as well. It was a work trip. If you're interested in that, I will link that at the end as well. Anywho, I did use it as a, I won't say travel bag, but that was my bag. Of course, with the Neverfull, we're talking about the black Empreinte. I'll show it to you guys in a second. And after I kind of like got there, so flew down, got there, I used my pochette. Got down, used my pochette. Fine. So the bag stayed in the room. Came down and looked fine. You know, my laptop, phone stuff, stayed in the bag. Bag stayed in the room. When I went to my conference, went to all my other stuff, I took the pochette. Week goes by, throw the stuff back in the bag, get the suitcase, zip it up, fly home, and we get into the next piece. Now, after what I ended up noticing on here, which it is not by any means an everyday bag or piece for me. So kind of seeing anything on one of the pieces that are not an everyday bag piece, or maybe I wear it once a month, twice a month. And I had the bag at the time just over a year. So to see peeling on the leather, I was kind of confused, as you may understand. Here on the pochette, I only see actually one section of peeling, and that's actually down here. It's not a big section. I'm not even sure if the camera's gonna pick it up, but it's kind of down here. I see that. It's almost like grayish. I was gonna say, and it's almost like sticky when you touch it. I don't know if you can hear that. Anyhow, the rest of the thing does not sound like that. So, came back, seen what you guys would have seen in that last video. I went into LV, went into LV, gave them the whole rundown about the bag. I was like, listen, you know, I went down and this is what's what. Didn't see it on there before, not really sure what the deal is. This is where we're at. And the lady, she was the sweetest lady. And I'm actually gonna give the location information as to where I went, because different boutiques are different. And typically anytime I had an issue, and I've only had a couple, but anytime I had something, I went down to Boston. I went to the Copley, either the Copley that's there or the one that's in Saks. One of those two, depending on what the line and what that situation was there. And earlier in the pandemic, not with this product, a different product, they were like, oh, repair is gonna be like 7 months, and do you need it now, or you should just get a replacement kind of. I was like, 7 months, run my shit back. Like, what is 7 months? Like, what? 7 months, I'm gonna forget about whatever that was. And again, those are just SLGs, so I was kind of like, listen, 7 months, no, bring it back. I'll figure out something later on. I did end up getting a couple different pieces at that time, but again, the repair process and what that was supposed to look like was something very different than what it was this go around. So went in, explained the whole thing. This particular one was the LV Natick, that's at the 1245 Worcester Street in Natick, Massachusetts. And the woman that helped me, she was super sweet. We went in and I explained the whole thing, and I showed her the bag. Now this particular thing here, I'll cover up the bottom here just to kind of give you an idea. Basically with the item, they go through, they go through, verify information, which everything was on my account. So I went in, gave her my information. I was like, yeah, this is my name, my information. She's like, boom, found your account, pulled up my history. She found this. I was like, yep, it's this item, this item. She was like, perfect. And then went in, did the description, which is this thing here. So basically the description is the whole thing of, we got the bag, we see the product, this is what it's looking like, this is what customers looking to do, right? Quick, short, sweet, boom. So she had told me then, okay, it's gonna be about 2 weeks for it to go repair, come back. But I was like, okay, I was gonna be out of town anyway. I was like, okay, just, you know, messing with me when it comes back. What are the options to send it back? Now, she did say, because I did go in person. I didn't like ship it and I did go in person. So she was like, well, if for whatever reason or another you can't come back and pick it up, there is an option to mail it. Let the aftercare specialist know today, and you can work it out where you can get it mailed. Fine. Part 2, if nothing else happens, all is well, the aftercare specialist will reach out, hey, your product is fixed, and then you can come in and make arrangements to get your product. Now, there is a caveat to it, which I didn't foresee being an issue, but I thought it was something that I do want to mention and share. So by signing this document, you agree to the estimate repair charge listed above, as well as understanding that Louis Vuitton North America is not responsible for any product left in the store for more than 90 days after you have been notified that your product was ready to be picked up. Okay, makes sense. After these 90 days, your product will be shipped to our warehouse facility and will be disposed of after a period of 3 years. So I thought that piece too was like, oh. Now I'm like, most people are like, why would you not go back and pick up your product? And I said the same thing too, but apparently people is out here doing that. Anywho, so definitely something to consider. They were like, it was gonna be 7 months. So if you're already anticipating that, you're not checking for these people. You know, a couple months go by you, and then, you know, that few months, now you didn't pick it up, man, they got it just sitting in a warehouse. It's a whole thing. So if you're not going to be available in the next few months or so, hold off on your repair. Don't do it. Because after it goes to the warehouse, I didn't even talk to her about that part because I knew I was going to be available. Like I wasn't like traveling or going to be out of the country or something like strange like that, to where if like I got stuck there, got stuck somewhere else, you know, I couldn't come back, you know, to pick it. That wasn't my situation at the time. But after seeing some of the other details in it, I wouldn't do any repair or anything like that, knowing that I had plans to travel, to go out of town where I wouldn't be available. So something to consider. The other thing is, upon pickup, they asked for ID, which was fine. I was like, yeah, I got my ID, boom, boom, boom. We checked it out, checked my account. Now, when I came for a pickup, this was a different set of people. So they had emailed me, and she said 2 weeks, and it was 2 weeks like to the day, like the day of 2 weeks. I was like, oh, it's been 2 weeks, I'll wait next week or whatever. And then by that night, I got an email saying, hey, LaNisha, your items ready to be picked up. Yay. Come get your stuff. I was like, boom. So I was there like the following week. Had some stuff to do. I was there the following week. So go in. I was like, hey, I got the email. Here's my ID for pickup. So compared to, and I'll try to insert clips from the front, compared to what happened there and what was what before. So if you look on the inside of the bag, this is the back of the bag, okay? The side that had the issue was the back of the bag. So that is actually how I wear it, which would be me wearing it, so I'll stand up here, this way. So it would be this way here, which would mean this side here would be on the inside to me. So initially I had worn, I think it was like a white blazer or something, and I had actually seen like flakes of like black chip on the white blazer. I'm not gonna brush up against anything, and that's why I'm like, shoot, let me look at this bag. Then I saw that the bag was, certain sections were peeling. So that's why I ended up going in to do the repair, and I'm not so pleased. Now, of course, leather, this is a completely different category than that of canvas. Cracked canvas, they will not touch. That is what it is. However, leather, you're supposed to have a bit more options. Of course, that is part of why we pay for the premium for leather, for those that have chosen to go that route. What I can say is, when I went to pick it up, I had gone, she was like, yep, she brought it out. And I'm like, okay, let me check it out, keep it pushing. Now, when they reached out to me, they didn't tell me, oh, there was an issue, or we couldn't patch it, or we couldn't element op. They didn't tell me anything. They just said it's ready, ready for pickup. So I'm like, all right, bet. So here, And I'll definitely try to insert some further clips here where you can probably see it in better lighting. I do still see several signs of this was not patched. This was not patchedness in it. And one of, or rather the aftercare specialist that was there that day, and I had even considered reaching out to the original woman that I had spoke with, because she seemed to be, how do I say this? She seemed to be more knowledgeable about what was actually going on, about the process, what have you. And of course, the situation of it is the artisan who's actually doing the repair and working it, they're only getting this info. They're not talking to nobody. You're not in communication with them. You're only in communication with the rep. And that was similar to when I did my thing with Saint Laurent and Prada. You talked to the rep, they drafted it up, they did it. But when I got my stuff back from Saint Laurent, when I got my stuff back from Prada, it was right. So this is kind of like the first time I had done anything to send anything out, and it came back, and I was kind of like, so that's why I'm kind of like, I'm trying to explain it. And to be honest, this has probably been sitting in the bag, in the dust bag, in the bag for probably 6 weeks or so, because I didn't know how to feel about it. Part of me was like, maybe get a second opinion, take it to the Boston boutique, maybe get a second opinion, because when I said, can I speak to the aftercare specialist on it? I'm not really sure what's happening with the product. She claimed no work was done to the product at all. I'm not really sure why they even took it in. It's what she told me. I wanted to jump on her. I didn't know that lady. And like I said, she didn't seem to be as knowledgeable as people on the front end about the process, about what was what. And I said, you know what? Give me my product. You know, I explained to her, I talked about a few things. I talked about the level of service. I looked around the store. There were maybe 2 people in the store. And this was like a Saturday. I'm like, where are your customers? This is Louis Vuitton. And not for nothing, there's no other, this was a location in Natick. So you have Natick, you have Boston, which are more than an hour apart. And you have, you know, the couple that I was talking about earlier in the Copley place. So there's not like there's a ton of LVs in the area where people is like, aside from shopping online, there's not a ton of LVs in the area for people to be like, oh, I won't go to that location, I'll just pop over this one. You going to Boston, that ain't no pop over. You going there with purpose. You going there with purpose because it's out the way. But I say that to say, is Louis Vuitton's time done? Because I'm like, the care of what's there and seeing, I'm just seeing it downgrade and downgrade and downgrade. So I'm going to insert a few before. Care specialist on the back end told me no work was done to it. Now, in my humble opinion, seeing the before and after and knowing what I had before, work was done to it. Now, what I will say is, here, you can see certain areas here in the floret where there's like still like missing leather. You can also see certain sections here where there's just scratches. Now, and the other thing, scratches wasn't initially what I had seen, like I said, because in my opinion, if leather is scratched or cut, it cuts and you would actually be able to see like a defined cut. And that is not seemingly what happened here. What I can say is the artisan did go in and replace these florets. So this section here, see how this V is cut out? There's this section here and this section here, which from the before and after looks great. Given what the situation is, of course, a repair, nobody expects a repair to be perfect. No, a repair will not be perfect, nor did I expect it to be, but you will definitely see that. Now, I will show you this side, and then I will show you the original side, the other side here that had no work done to it, so you can kind of understand what I'm talking about. But almost see how this side looks puffier, like the bottom section. So I'm going to try to tilt it against the light, and you can almost see, especially up here, that it's not flat. It's almost like three-dimensional. And that's how you can see like that additional piece of leather was added. Now in person, I can feel it. I can feel the textureness of it. It's puffier, it's thicker. than this section here. So that I can see. But when you see like the 3D kind of part of it, you can see that. Now, on the side where no work was done, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to shift it. And you're going to see here that it looks flat. So see right here, there's no, all of this is like straight across. It's straight. It's all one piece of leather. Just on the floor right there, and it's flat. So again, I didn't have any work done to this side, but just so you can kind of see the difference. Now, few things. I understand, of course, life happens, things happen. At the end of the day, it's a bag. Is it life altering or changing? No. Do I have other things in my collection that I can wear? Yes. Have I been wearing other things in my collection? Yes. Am I considering selling it? I have considered it. But my ordeal of it is more, will I be purchasing another one? No. Especially with the whole thing, you know, with the Neverfull being discontinued. I did do a video on that. And perhaps being on a wait list for a Neverfull. It's not a Birkin here. I'm not sure what we're talking about, but people are out here doing it. So if that's your thing, that's your thing. That's part of your journey. I respect you for it, but no. Even both when I dropped off the bag and picked it up, they did have the signs up. They were display only. Again, like I said, I did do a video on that. But the whole thing of when you're purchasing a luxury product, you're purchasing a luxury piece, you expect it to kind of, you know, last a little bit and kind of hold its own. And again, for the price point, I don't see that. I don't see it there anymore. Actually, that day when I was there, I was looking at another bag. Not in replacing this or not anything else, just something else I had to add on the wish list. I was looking at the Alma BB. They had just dropped at the time, like that mauve kind of lilac color. I thought was super dope in the epi leather. And then also the Petite Pallas. The Petite Pallas actually surprised me, but what did I wanted it? The Prion Black. So I'll definitely insert a clip there for you because it's definitely a stunning piece, a stunning handbag. I did actually see, I was just out shopping and I saw a woman with, I was like, oh my gosh, is that the Petite Pallas? And I was like, is that the medium size? And she was like, kind of like, take a minute. So we were chatting a bit. So this was before I had gone in, but I don't know that the brand name still holds, in my opinion, the same cachet that it once did, at least for me. At the end of the day, the price needs to seem to warrant the quality. And I know some brands like Chanel have definitely gotten their fair share, right? Of backlash for wanting more than 10 stacks for a classic flap. And then there are pop stitches. There are other things going on. They're not really sure what's what. I have seen more recently the update with talking about a 5-year service plan or like a warranty type plan. And it'll be interesting to see if people are more willing to go in with that price point, knowing that there have been some quality concerns. Now, here's what I will say. When I got this item here and I brought it in, I was like, okay, I did go in expecting that there would be, you know, a small fee or something associated with the service and or care, given that it's aftercare, and given that it was maybe a year and like 2 months, a year and 3 months or something like that I had to back. So I understand usually within the year for LV, they say, okay, there's certain things they may consider, certain other things like replacing grommets or other strange stuff that would, I've never, like I said, I've never had a need for that type of service. But replacing grommets, some of the strange stuff like that may come at a slight fee. It is what it is. So when I got my thing, I was like, oh, okay. She didn't have a thing on here. And then it says also ETA for quotation. So there wasn't a specific amount listed on here. I guess that would be different for like hardware pieces. They can say, oh, you need 6 grommets, or like a 6 key ring, you need 2 replacement hooks, something like that. It's more specified, but they can say, okay, we can quote and give you more of an accurate price on what that would look like. So when I came in, I did this piece here. They actually did not charge. And I don't know if, and it wasn't like when I was telling the woman I was upset about it, there was never anything on it. And I was kind of like, because even then I'm like, all right, what's the thing on here? I was like, no, I'm displeased with the service. But I'm like, I was gonna pay you, but, you know, I'm like, okay. And she was like, no, ma'am, no, ma'am, the brand is covering. No, you're covered, ma'am. That I don't know if that's because they looked at the bag, they looked at the piece. Even when I had brought it in, I guess one of the things, the first thing, both what the representative did and I guess the supervisor did was, let me see if I can kind of get in here because it's dark and shit. Let me get a flashlight. Is look at that and look kind of like in the bag, and there's really not much. I don't know if that's doing much better. There's really nothing in it. There's nothing in it. The bag is clean. The bag's a new bag. So when I had gone in, she was like, what happened to your bag? It looks new. So I think maybe that's why they were like, it's not necessarily for wear and tear because it didn't fit the script for what was what. So in this particular one, they did not assess a fee for a service, or maybe it's something that they see often again, replacing these type of things from just like wear. I don't know. Only thing I can say is from it being on the inside of the bag, being on the inside of like the side that I would wear it on, if it was something perhaps that I was wearing. So let's say if I wore a jacket and maybe the jacket had like zippers on it, like a leather bomber or something, and it had like zippers on it, and unbeknownst to me, the bag was rubbing up against the zipper, and then maybe it got some scratches or something like that on it. I don't know. I feel like that's something I would have noticed. But again, I can't say that I've ever had that happen to any other piece. So definitely let me know, comment down below what your thoughts are. Have you had a repair recently from LV? Was the price absorbent? Do you feel it was absorbent as compared to what the service was for? If you found today's video helpful, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment down below, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Bye.